Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm back. We're going to finish up with the Me Too movement real quick. So, someone told me it's only fair to get a girl's perspective on the Me Too movement. So, let's listen to Wendy Williams, someone who I'm completely not a fan of. Let's just hear her take on the Me Too movement. I hope you guys can hear this.
Be on your show. Sick of this Me Too movement. You know, I love that people are speaking up for the first time and coming out and everything, but I look at all men like you're a Me Too. All of them, which is not fair.
What? That sounds
I don't know how
I don't think she
see how
thought
quiet
that
he
one
got?
all the way
See
through.
how quiet he got?
First of all, if you're a woman,
sick of the Me
why
Too
as a woman would you be sick of the Me Too movement? The Me Too movement is a cultural revolution that's going to make things for women better in the future. So why would you be sick of it?
It's a great time for women to be
crazy.
able to come out and speak their truth. It's been really hard for women for decades, for
That
even
sounds
longer than that,
crazy.
to feel like they have a safe space where they can express themselves just for reasons like that.
That's just not a smart thing to say, because when you say things like that, people be like, oh, really?
Let's
You
go
sick of the Me
backwards.
Too movement? Well, that's when it comes knocking at your door.
Yeah, I think that's horrible. That's very irresponsible to say something so crazy like that. I'm sick of the Me
That
Too
sounds
movement.
so crazy.
And then you watch the Nassar, who's going to jail for 175 years, and what he
Okay, so that is the left-wing media insulting Wendy Williams for saying, I am sick of the Me Too movement. Unfortunately, she didn't elaborate more on why she's sick of it, but at least there are women out there who are not necessarily right-wing Republicans or conservatives that still believe that this Me Too movement has gone too far. It became, if I remember correctly, it became well known after Alyssa Milano, who's completely irrelevant right now. She's completely irrelevant, Alyssa Milano, and I feel like she kind of started this Me Too movement to make herself relevant again. If you go look it up, if you look up the first person. Well, there was a reporter who reported in 2006 and reported that people should hashtag Me Too if they were ever sexually assaulted, but it never came about until Alyssa Milano. I don't know if you guys know who she is. She hasn't been famous since the 90s. She was famous when she was younger. Now she's completely irrelevant, and she's the one in 2017 who came out with this whole Me Too movement, and she tweeted that anyone that has ever been sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, and in any shape or form should hashtag Me Too on Twitter. Now, you have to read before you could before you could believe everyone's account. You have to read the context of their claims of being sexually assaulted. Most people on the Me Too movement will say, I was whistled at, or there was guys are catcalling me, you know? So I just want to point out that that is not sexual assault. Just in the word itself, it has the word assault. Now, I don't have to look up the definition to the word assault for us to all know what it means to assault somebody. For a second, let's forget about the word sexual. Let's leave that out. Sexually assaulted. Let's just say there was a guy walking down the street and he was assaulted, right? Does that mean that some guy called him a name, a derogatory name, and he was assaulted? No. We all know that's bullshit. We all know that's not true. So you have to read the context. You know, it's kind of pathetic when there's thousands of girls tweeting Me Too, and then when you read the context of what happened, they'll just say guys were whistling at me, they were catcalling, and some of them will tell you that they were actually assaulted, sexually assaulted. But that's very easy to make up and say I was sexually assaulted to be part of this movement. In order for somebody to be convicted of a crime, there needs to be evidence, there needs to be proof. Now, unfortunately, I know this all too well, that it's very difficult for some people to come forward, and it's, you know, it could be embarrassing. Maybe it will destroy the relationship. It could, you know, who knows what the reasons are that not everybody is coming forward right away. But at the same time, and by the way, I know there's I know there's what do you call it? I can't think of the word right now, but let's just get back to the Me Too movement. Sorry about that. So you know, but at some point, you know, you have to come forward, and these girls that are coming forward right now, especially let's focus on Hollywood right now, because this is just so overwhelming. You know, there's thousands. It's like, I think it's in 34 languages right now, the Me Too movement. So there's just an incredible amount of people right now tweeting about it ever since Alyssa Milano spoke about it. So let's just go. It really happened after the Harvey Weinstein incident. So let's talk about Hollywood for a little bit. So Hollywood, so Harvey Weinstein, you know, first of all, I believe a certain percentage of these women were really sexually assaulted or harassed by Harvey Weinstein, and I think he's a sick man, and I think he deserves to spend the rest of his life in jail. But let's not forget that for the last 3 decades, Harvey Weinstein has been one of the most prominent Hollywood executives. I mean, he's so powerful in Hollywood that, yeah, he could, you know, find some beautiful, struggling actress and probably manipulate them to do something in order to make it in Hollywood. He probably had that power, and he probably abused that power. But at the same time, those girls had a choice. Okay, let me ask you a question. If you were a struggling actress and Harvey Weinstein said to you, listen, I will give you your big break, but you need to do this, you need to do A, B, and C first. Okay, he didn't force anybody. He never actually raped somebody. He never physically grabbed somebody. I don't know if you know what Harvey Weinstein looks like, but he's like this fat, ugly. He's like he's just this fat, ugly Jew. Sorry to say, but that he's Jewish. It's kind of sad. But I don't think from what I've understood and read, I don't think he ever actually physically raped somebody. I think he abused his power to sexually assault people. And yes, that's considered sexual assault. But again, it was a choice. For all these girls out there that made that decision, you know what, I'm going to do this for Harvey Weinstein because I know I'm going to get my big break. That was a choice they made. You know, it's we all know it's a thing in Hollywood. It's a thing in any corporation. You know, a lot of people have, you know, and this is, I'm not saying this is right, but a lot of people have to sleep their way to the top. It's the way the world is. It's a sick world that we live in. I'm not saying that's right. That's disgusting. It's sad, pathetic, and it's just a crazy world that we live in. But again, if Harvey Weinstein gave them a choice to, I would like to do a statistic on how many girls would sleep with Harvey Weinstein or do other disgusting things with Harvey Weinstein in order to make it in Hollywood. And the ones that said no to him, it's very possible that he never even sexually assaulted these people. Maybe he asked them something and they said no, and that was the end of it. And now, 30 years later, they're coming back because they're pissed off that they never made it in Hollywood and they want their 15 minutes of fame. I mean, it's all a possibility. We all know that there were people that he sexually assaulted. We know that in Hollywood that happens all the time, that people get sexually assaulted. There's been it started off with Bill Cosby, and right now there's just the list is going on and on. It's crazy. It's getting out of control. Now the weird thing is why all of a sudden now, and let's go back to Harvey Weinstein for a second. A lot of the crimes he committed, the statute of limitation is up. I don't know why there's a statute of limitation on rape or sexual assault. There shouldn't be, just like on killing somebody, because that could destroy your life, especially if you're a child. I believe that if a child is sexually assaulted, that person, there should be no statute of limitation, and that person should spend the rest of their life in jail. Now, with Harvey Weinstein, a lot of the people coming forward right now are in their 60s and 70s, and he sexually assaulted them like 30 years ago, right? Now, I understand it's a little bit hard to come forward, and I feel for those girls, but if I'm wrong here, please message down below. But how hard is it? It's a little bit hard to feel bad for somebody that's 70 that claims 30 years ago I was assaulted by Harvey Weinstein 30 years ago, and I decided to keep my mouth shut for whatever reason for 30 years, and then now that Melissa Milano's coming out and thousands of other women are coming out, now I feel safe coming out. So we have to look at this in they just got. I don't know if you heard the story about Aziz Ansari, right? He's a comedian, right? So he recently was at a bar. This is like the newest Me Too thing that just came out. He was recently at a bar, and he's a celebrity, and he met a girl at the bar, and they were they hit it off well. She was flirting with him, and he probably was flirting back with her, and he asked her if she wanted to go home with him, and she said yes. And I'm sorry to say this, but as for Aziz Ansari, if he picks up a girl at a bar, he's rich, he's famous. What did that girl expect? Did they think she was going to go home and they were going to order pizza and watch a movie? Is that what she expected? No. But what happened? She went home. They went back. He tried to make a move on her, and she screams rape. And now she's tweeting Me Too. When he actually didn't even do anything to her. He didn't even touch her. And if he did, he did. He kissed her, but she kissed him back. But I don't think anything happened more than that. So, this is becoming scary. It's getting scary. Men now have to be very, very, very cautious around women. And as you see, the employment rate of women are going down tremendously. Why? Because men are afraid to hire women because of this Me Too movement. They're afraid that they're going to get sued, or there will be false allegations of sexual assault if there's a male boss. So this Me Too movement is actually very counterproductive. It's not really helping anybody out. I don't think this is, I understand you guys are trying to push awareness of the situation, but I don't think you're doing it right. First of all, we all know 75% of the Me Too movement were never really actually sexually assaulted. They were just either, if you read the context, like I said, if you read the context of all these Me Too people, most of them say that there was a guy catcalling or whistling at me. And again, like I said before, that is not sexual assault. Do you want to call it sexual harassment? Fine. Maybe it's harassment. If you're that much of a melting snowflake that if a guy, makes a comment to you and you take it to your heart, it's so much that it offended you that badly that you considered it sexual harassment, then you just need to grow up. I'm sorry. Now, if the guy literally sexually harassed you and is stalking you or whatever, that's another situation. But we're talking about a guy who calls a girl, who makes a sexual comment towards a girl. That's what we're talking about when I say sexual harassment. When I was growing up, I always like to throw this in. When I was growing up, there was something called, or there's an expression. It was sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's how life was in the 90s, and I'm sure all the decades before. You could take a baseball bat or a gun and kill somebody. But words didn't really affect people. It really depended on who you were, what kind of a person it was. And the responses will be based on who you say it to. We've come to a point, and now we're living in 2018, right? We're living in a world where, it's just like everybody is just becoming like a I don't want to keep using that word, like a melting snowflake. Everyone in this world is just so sensitive to every little thing. Words that were very common when I was a kid growing up are now not politically correct. For example, you are no longer allowed to use the word autistic. That's not politically correct anymore. It's on the spectrum. That's the political correct way of saying it. As we all know, in the 80s and 90s, we used to call people retards, but that's not politically correct anymore. And I understand. I'm not trying to say it's nice to go around and call someone that has Down syndrome retarded. But, friends would talk to each other and call them retards, or, more as like a sarcastic, type of a way. But that word is not acceptable anymore, and I understand. But as you see, like it was acceptable at a certain point in time, and then we started getting more and more sensitive towards words, and now it's getting crazy. This world is just falling apart. I just spoke to my brother-in-law who lives in Israel, and it seems like Israel's jumping on the melting snowflake train. People are it used to be that in Israel at 17 you were forced to join the military. Now people, and if you look back at Israel's history, we always had one of the best militaries in the world. One of the most high tech, one of the most advanced militaries. But people today, they'll find every other excuse in the book not to join the military. They'll either go to whatever loophole possible to not join the military. They will look for it. They will find it. And, so it's just showing it's not just America, it's everywhere. This whole Me Too movement also is not strictly with America. It's around the world now. Like I said, it's in 34 different languages. So this is really, really crazy. I'm going to bring two girls on a live stream tomorrow so we can get their opinion. One of them is very pro the Me Too movement, and the other one is very anti the Me Too movement. And I just want to feel out both of their. I want to hear what they both have to say, and then I'll make my own and then I'll, come up with my own response to what they have to say. But once again, I just want to remind everybody. Again, with this Harvey Weinstein thing, and also with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, what is he, like what is he, like 80 now? I think he's 80 years old. He's might have 10 years left to his life. And, you know, listen, what Bill Cosby did was not right. It was wrong, and it was a shock because Bill Cosby always played this father figure. He always, was he always, it was just shocking to me that he did all that stuff. But again, we have to remember that the statute of limitation is up on all of the charges against Bill Cosby, except for one that happened in 2006. And that's what he's facing right now. But I still believe, listen, whatever he did in his life, he's now 80. He's got like 10 years left to his life. Let him just die in peace. His wife, his kids don't talk to him anymore. He had a hard life. His son was murdered in the 90s. What he did was not right, but again, there were like 30 women that came forward claiming that when he, 20 years ago, he sexually assaulted them, which is kind of similar. And then now it's Harvey Weinstein. And again, it's like, it's like I said, it's hard to feel bad for a 70-year-old woman or a 60-year-old woman that's claiming that 30 years ago with no factual proof. It's just her word against Harvey Weinstein's word that she was assaulted. Now, we know there's a lot of fakers. We know that when any agenda is trying to be pushed, there are fakers. That's just part of reality. So how are we supposed to know who was really assaulted sexually and who's just putting on this facade of pretending that they were assaulted just to expand this Me Too movement and to push it, to really push this movement? And that's the problem. That we'll never know. We'll never know, especially in Harvey Weinstein's case when there's not that much factual proof. And that's why he has not been convicted of anything yet. And I don't think he will. But anyways, that's a side point. I just wanted to, again, I just express my thoughts on this Me Too movement. I would really, really appreciate it if whoever's watching this video, if you could please comment below on your take on the Me Too movement, because maybe I'm not educated enough. Maybe I don't understand. And I, of course, would love to learn from somebody else. If someone else has an opinion, what I am saying, I just want to point out is not a fact. This is everything you're hearing from me. It's not factual. It's my opinion. So, and I have the right to my opinion. I have the right to free speech. I can speak about whatever I want. You guys don't like it, just click. Just don't watch the video. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Peace out. Hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Monday. I know your day is ending right now, which is great. And like I said, we have some great videos coming soon. Please, for all the people out there, please just leave a comment below on your feelings about what I just spoke about. And if there's something I left out, even if you take my side on this and you feel like the Me Too movement is counterproductive and is not really helping out any people that are in it. Like I said, I know this for a fact. I have many friends with businesses that are afraid to hire women. They are afraid that there will be false allegations of sexual assault because of this Me Too movement. And listen, women are gonna get less roles in Hollywood. They're not gonna get they're not gonna get the jobs that they want to get and then they're going to go crying about equality, and that's when the feminists come in. But what are we supposed to do? There's got to be like a middle ground, you know? There's got to be some sort of middle ground. Like, how are we supposed to, you know? It's almost like we can't trust women anymore. Not all women, by the way. There's exceptions to every rule, and I'm not generalizing every single woman. I'm just talking about the women that are in the Me Too movement. And FYI, if there are any men in the Me Too movement, get out fast, because you're just pathetic. Unless you were molested as a child. If you are a male and you're part of the Me Too movement and you're either a child celebrity, a child star, or just molested by an uncle, then keep at it, you know? Keep fighting for what's right. But I don't know that the Me Too movement is actually beneficial to you guys. I think it's scaring a lot of men away. I stopped talking to girls permanently. I'm done. No, I'm just kidding. But I know a lot of guys. There's this new movement that the men are starting. It's called MGTOW. And I want every single person that is watching my video right now to go look up what MGTOW is. I'm going to explain it to you, but I want you to still go Google it up, because it started after the Me Too movement. And it's basically guys that are afraid to have relationships with women. They just want to stay away from women. They're basically, if you ask them, like, they'll basically say we're just like that. We're kind of living like bachelors now for the rest of our lives. They don't want to get into relationships. It doesn't mean they don't want to, you know, maybe, you know, mess around with a girl once in a while, but they don't want to be involved in relationships with women anymore, because they're afraid of being accused of sexual assault. They're afraid of allegations of sexual assault. And like I said, it's happening everywhere. It's happening in the job market. It's happening everywhere. It's like it's causing like a wall, which this Me Too movement is slowly just building up. You know, you got the men on one side, and we have the Me Too movement and the women on the other side, and it's a wall, and the wall's the Me Too movement. It's just building. It's just going up and up and up. And it's kind of just separating the men and the women. You know, men now are afraid of women. So I think if I can get some comments below, if some people can throw out some of their opinions, maybe we could start our own sort of movement. Some sort of in between the MGTOW and the Me Too, like somewhere in between, we can figure out some sort of way to, you know, to settle this without everybody, you know, screaming rape when at the first sign of a guy. You know, yeah, that's it. Like I said, please comment below, and I think that's all I have to say. I have some comments here, some questions. I'm gonna personally answer all the questions. As soon as I end this video, I will sit down and I'll respond to every comment. Anyways. Everybody, have a wonderful rest of the Monday. I hope you had a great day at work today. Like I said, if your week's starting off slow and boring, just watch my videos. And I promise you it'll put a smile on your face. And if you don't, your cat will die. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, peace out.